this hits home for me, literally. This literally hits home for me because this is where I live. And this is gross. So everybody, you've been warned. This is pretty freaking gross. I just saw this a couple minutes before logging in, and I was maybe or maybe not cursing about it while I was having a cup of coffee. But this is breaking. Today, the city posted notice of their plans to displace over 50 residents in San Pedro, that's where I live, on Christmas Eve. We just took Mayor of LA up on his commitment to LA and the health of all Angelenos and asked him to prioritize public health over politics. Hashtag services not sweeps, which, by the way, the hashtag services not sweeps is trending on Twitter right now. So here's the picture. Now, it's hard to see where exactly this is going to take place. It's kind of hard to see the map just from this photo. But at 6 a.m. on December 24th, which is Christmas Eve, they're going to do a quote, street cleaning in San Pedro, my neighborhood, and it's going to displace a bunch of houseless people on Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve. Now, while the city is being completely insufficient on services, keep in mind, in the nation, there are over 1 million less people providing social services than there were before the pandemic. So during a pandemic here in the United States, we have less services available to people, not more. But they got the money and they got the time to do stuff like this. And this is gross. And I've tweeted at my mayor and I just straight up said, and I know I don't have the right to speak on behalf of all of San Pedro, but I fucking did anyway. And I just said, keep your goons out of my fucking neighborhood and stay out of my neighborhood. You are not welcome here. You are not welcome in San Pedro, Garcetti. You're not welcome.
Hell yeah. I mean, look, Eric Garcetti is he's emblematic of just how corrupt to the core California politics are. But aside from that, I mean, he is a deeply unlikable man. Big shout out to my co-host on Slow News Day, Glory Jones, because she's in LA. She's out in the streets all the time standing up for this stuff. She is one of the most like on the ground activists in multiple arenas that I've had the privilege of knowing for quite a long time. And the fact that Garcetti's office is just running with, sure, we'll evict people on Christmas Eve. I mean, I honestly, I'm not advocating violence, Ron Placone, but if someone were to build an effigy of Eric Garcetti dressed as the Grinch, and then placed it in a homemade guillotine, and then put those on every street corner from the mayor's office to the neighborhoods that may be affected by this in San Pedro. Mm-hmm. I think that would be a good idea. I do.
We're strictly symbol of
Grinches as far as
Garcetti Grinches. Yeah. Well, and shout out to People's City Council LA who made Garcetti the Grinch, and they are organizing, writing to the mayor. I'm going to do it later today. Writing to the mayor, urging them not to do this on Christmas Eve. I would go as far as to say urging them not to do it, period. Stop displacing houseless people during a freaking pandemic. If you're going to displace them, here's an idea. Displace them into a fucking house. Displace them there. You know, you're really concerned about the homeless? Why don't you follow no vacancy, which the People's City Council of LA has been calling for since the pandemic started? They've been calling for no vacancy. It's been ignored. They've done the bare minimum just for a photo op. So why don't you do that instead of doing these street sweeping and displacing houseless people on Christmas Eve? I mean, they could follow no vacancy. Yeah, for the same amount of money. It costs a lot of money to do this bullshit, to do this inhumane bullshit. For those same resources, you could house people.
You're paying cops double time because it's Christmas Eve. You know, how many of them does it take? And what happens when rightfully people say, no, I'm not leaving. I'm not. What happens then? What does that escalation look like? How much does that cost? How much does it cost in the aftermath of that? Absolutely, it's more practical to simply house people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's not like there's not the space.
There's plenty. Yes, exactly. There's plenty of space. I mean, they've run the numbers many times. It's just so frustrating to me to see stuff like this. And I mean, couldn't you just for one day? It's freaking Christmas. Can't you be an asshole 364 days a year? And for one day, maybe just like, hey, everybody there, we're gonna give you a hotel room for the night. I mean, even that's the bare minimum, but it's just so insane that even for just one fucking day, you can't be a human being for one fucking day.
If, like the Grinch, Eric Garcetti's heart grew 3 sizes one day, it would still probably be the size of like a speck of mushroom dust.
And not the fun time mushrooms.
No.
Talking about just the regular
Although
mushrooms.
I am a fan.
I am too, buddy. That's why I was like, don't give him that much credit.
We're not talking maybe that's what he needs, though, Ron Placone. Maybe Eric Garcetti needs like 12 hours with a shaman and 5.5 dried grams. And maybe he would come to the conclusion that doesn't make any sense to turn people out into the street on goddamn Christmas Eve.
Maybe he needs a bad trip to wake his ass up. Maybe he needs a fucking bad trip where it's just like, oh man, I'm the villain. It's like, yeah, you are the fucking villain. I want him to look in the mirror and see horns growing, and he's like, it's this, and it's like, no, that's really you. You just saw what's on the inside, motherfucker. So stop being an asshole. How about that?
We'll get some greasy Grateful Dead Wrecking Crew guy to just like puddle 30 hits in his hand.
So shout out to the People City Council, and please do follow them on Twitter, just People City Council, and write to the mayor. And I do have one more call to action because I know it's a holiday. If you live in San Pedro or nearby, I mean, it doesn't have to be San Pedro, but if it is San Pedro, and you want, please email me. Go to my website, ronplacone.com. Please email me if you are in San Pedro. I wanted to try to do a thing regardless where, I'm going to be making a lot of food tomorrow for Christmas Eve. And I wanted to try to do something where I distribute it to some people in need. It's just my wife and I, so I'm just cooking for the two of us. So we're going to have plenty of food, and we'd like to give it to some people in need. I'm going to try to coordinate that. Fortunately, one of the great things that San Pedro has here is there's a Facebook group of all things. Facebook is shitty in so many ways, but sometimes it can certainly be used for some good things. And this is one of those, for instances. There's a Facebook group to help housing and food insecure people, where you can just, if you have something to offer, you can just post it. Similarly, if somebody needs something, they can just post it. So, I've used it in the past to get people water and to get people some other things. And I'm going to use it later today to try to get some food to people on Christmas Eve. So if you're in San Pedro and there's anything you can do to maybe help, please feel free to reach out to me directly, because this is our fucking neighborhood. And this is our neighborhood. And it's not right that they're doing this in our neighborhood. It's not right that they're doing this in any neighborhood. But, when they're doing it in yours, you got to do something to try to help people, because, this pandemic has shown us we are all we fucking have. We are all we have. And I know I'm cursing a lot this show, and I'm sorry if that's making anyone uneasy, but I'm told
I bring that out in people.
Maybe you do, which God bless you if that's the case. But regardless, I think part of it too is I just saw this morning. There were grumblings that they were going to do this on Christmas Eve, and now it's been confirmed. And I'm mad. I'm fucking mad because, San Pedro is a great neighborhood, and this isn't right. And I'm freaking furious. Like, I'm just really furious about this. And and I'm going to try to do something to help, and that's all we can do at this point. We're all we got. We're all we freaking got.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together